Hello, it's Ashley here from Paper&Twine and welcome to Wednesday. What are we? The 29th of June. It is the final episode of Hilary from Pink Bubble Cards Alphabet Challenge, and this is going to go up quite late today, I think. Lost my crafting mojo a little bit, and yeah, this is the final one, and I thought it'd be really nice if we did it together. So Y is for yarn. I've gathered some scraps out of my scraps box, and I'm going to do a fun fold card. This piece measures 3.5 by 10, and I'm just going to score it at 5, like so. Don't need this anymore, so we'll move it out of the way. Funny old day weather-wise today. I was quite cold when I got up, but it's quite warm now, and sun is out, but it's also very cloudy. Just giving that a fold and a burnish. I have a piece of white card that is 7 by 5, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this on here when I've done some titivating with this. So I've gone through my blue scraps box and I've got some backgrounds. I know what I'm going to do. I need a piece that is going to fit on here, and it looks like this might be the badger. Gust of wind just come through the window. I've opened the window because there was a really annoying buzzy fly. This in fact is not going to be big enough unless I do it that way. Yes, I think that's the way to do it. So I think we will cut this down to 6 7/8 by 4 7/8, and we'll glue that on. 6 7/8 by 4 7/8. So that's just giving me a little mat and layer. And these scraps will go back in my scraps pot in a minute. And what I'm going to do, just to make everything pop, I'm going to do a line in black Sharpie. Here we go. And I could do with some paper actually. Let's see if I've got any scrap paper under here. Oh, yes I have. That's handy, isn't it? Just to save getting Sharpie on my glass mat, which needs a very good clean. It's got gold acrylic paint on it. It's got gilding wax on it. Yes, it needs a jolly good clean. Yeah, so as I was saying, I have lost my crafting mojo a little bit this week. I have started the big craft room tidy up. Putting a video together. I am ashamed. I told Mr. Paper&Twine that I was filming it, and he said I'd be ashamed if I was you, and yes, I am ashamed, but I have got to the stage almost where everything is off the floor. When I upload this video, which will probably be a couple of months time by the time I've finished everything, I've lost my thread. Yes, I've not been sleeping very well. Yeah, so I've got to the stage where I've got nearly everything up off the floor, and I've started to kind of throw things away, bits of rubbish and packaging that's beyond use. I tend to try and keep as much packaging as I can to reuse. But yeah, the floor is almost clear of rubbish. I think the problem was that I'd got a lot of commissions for magazines. Haven't got any at the moment. And when they were done, I was just dumping stuff on the floor, and yeah, not tidying up as I was going along. And so I had this huge, immense mound of mess, really. And I like to keep all of my paper scraps, and I've got a chest of drawers that's, well, it's a metal filing cabinet from IKEA, and there aren't enough drawers. I need a bigger block. Hold on a minute. Yeah, so as I was saying, there's not enough drawers for every colour of the rainbow and black and white. So I've got red and pink in a drawer. I'm just going to find a block to put this knitting background on, because Y is for yarn. We're going to do a bit of knitting. Oh, that came off. We don't need that bit. That can go in my rubbish. Yeah, so I've got red and pink in a drawer, orange and yellow together. Which should have your green on its own, blue on its own, because I use a lot of those. Gave battle purple. So that's red. Oh God, do you know, I'm really not with it. Red and pink, orange and yellow, green, blue, purple. What have I missed out? Oh, there's one more. Yes, I've got brown and gold. Yeah, so those are how I've kind of broken my colours up at the moment. And I haven't used this before. This was a prize. That's how I've broken it up at the moment. But they're quite decent sized drawers. So I might get another one actually from a black and white, silver grey, because I use a lot of those. Now I've got, I just want a hint of a knitted background on here. So I've got Salty Ocean, and I don't really care if it's not a complete impression. I should have perhaps stamped before I'd inked around the edges, but never mind, doesn't really matter. Yeah, so I lost my crafting mojo. I'm not going to go into any details really, but I've had a bit of bad news in the family, and it's knocked me for six a little bit really, and it's okay, I'm okay, you know, it's nothing to do with me. It's just a family member is going through a very tough time, and it's really affected me more than I thought it would, and I'm kind of like, oh, I don't really want to do anything. Let's try and match this up here so that I haven't got so much of a big gap. So I'm going down all this way at the moment. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Well, we're just getting this, a lot of this is going to be covered up anyway, but it's just to give us a little bit of, and I might do just a bit of second generation down there. This is quite a nice block actually. Yeah, see, that's quite nice down there. And then we'll just ink up this edge, and we'll do a little bit of first generation, second generation, just to fill in the gaps. This is an Inky Doodle stamp that I've had for absolutely ages. Just to give a little hint of a little bit of texture in the background. I'm going to stamp off a little bit there actually, and just do that there like that. There we go. So I can put that to one side just for now. I might come back to it, you never know. Yeah, so I am behind on my design team makes for June for Cheryl Simone. I have emailed her and given her a little bit more detail than I'm giving you guys, just to apologise really. I might have a go this afternoon when I've finished filming this and uploading this, and I've got some looks like Happy Mail and challenge entries to open as well. So when I've finished this, I'm either, if this video is not too long, but I can already see it is going to be, I might add that onto the end of this video, or I might film it this afternoon and upload it tomorrow when I get back from school. There we go. So that's the base of our card. This middle bit is going to be covered up anyway. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to find a nice piece. I like this colour just to lift it a little bit. We've got a little bit of green here. And so this was 5 by, did I say 3.5? Yeah, so I'm going to cut this down to 4 7/8 by 3 3/8. And of course I'll be leaving all of my scraps intact. What did we say? 3 1/2, 3 3/8. And I think what I might do is just randomly stamp a little bit of this over here, because I'm going to add my main sentiment into the middle here. And then we're going to do a little bit of knitting. We are indeed. So I hope you're all well. I need to come back with a coffee shop drivel soon, don't I? Just take a bit of ink off there, and we're not going to do the whole thing. We're just going to do little bits. I wish I'd got a stencil of this actually, like so, just to give a little bit of interest. Blue's meowing, she wants to be let in. Hold on. Come on then. There we go. Now I have a sentiment that I want to go on here, and I'm going to do this keep calm and cast on right in the middle there. Is there anything else that I want to add to there? I might actually, if I put that there like so, I can have this coming off here at the bottom. Oh, no, I don't know. What do you think? Because I'm probably going to edge this in black anyway. So, yes, I could do it like that. Yeah, have a little bit there with that bit of the needles, and then I can rotate it and have a little bit at the top corner there. That is what I am going to do. I have a plan. I am pleased with my plan. I don't need this anymore, so I'm just going to move that out of the way. There's me. I've spent ages tidying up. 2 hours it's taken me to get everything off the floor and sorted and put away. I mean, gosh, if you could see what's in the cupboards and drawers are chocker. That is going to be my next job, is going to be starting to sort out everything. Yes, for a D-stash. Right, here we go. Let's make sure that's pretty much centered. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's not. You know me, I'm not very good at straight lines. There we go. Keep calm and cast on. I could have done, I think I need another, what do you call it? Another black ink. Pop that on there. Let's bring out this one. And yes, we'll do black again. Let's try this one. Both of my blacks I think are a bit suspect. Just give that a really good, so I'm putting that like so there. Let's give it a really good pressing down, and then top left hand corner, and we're going to have that like so. There we go. Keep calm and cast on. It is knitting today, and I'm very pleased. If you saw my last woolly pod, I showed that I'd started my boxy jumper, and I'm making really good headway with that. Yeah, I'm just, my only concern is that I might not have enough yarn to finish it off. So I've got to a point where I've actually joined everything in the round, and I'm going to kind of leave that little bit aside, and I'm going to do my sleeves so that I know that the sleeves are done, because it's all knitted in one piece. So I've got my armholes formed, and I'm knitting it in one piece, and I can get the sleeves sorted and know that what I've got left is enough to hopefully do the body and pick up stitches for the V-neck to to tidy up the V-neck. I think there's a little bit of something around there. So yeah, I'm quite enjoying it, and it is now I've done all the difficult shaping, which is at the shoulders. I'm just literally knitting in the round, and when you knit in the round, you just knit, you don't do any purl rows. So it is mindless knitting. I've got a little marker to kind of tell me which is the beginning of the row, or the round rather, and I just keep going, and yeah, it's good fun. I've just finished watching last night Anatomy of a Scandal on Netflix. Has anybody else watched that? It's been out a while, and I started watching it a while ago, but I'd only watched 2 episodes, I think, and I binged it. And then I noticed that Rowan Atkinson has got a new thing out, so I watched a couple of episodes of that last night just to try and cheer me up a little bit. Right, okay, that is that. I'll have one more little line here just to make it a bit more even. Oh, hold on. I don't know what it is. I am terrible at doing wonky lines. There we go. That's that. I don't need you. And I don't need you. So you can go back. And what we can do now is stick this on here like so. Make sure it's centered, and then we can do a little bit of knitting. So it's a come knit with me and a come craft with me and a project share. Lots of playlists this one's going to go into. It's not a woolly pod though, but I am knitting. Let's make sure we get this on the right way. I haven't stamped that sentiment entirely centrally, but never mind. Okay, that is that. Keep calm and cast on. Now we bring in this piece, and we're going to glue that in the centre. In fact, actually, no, I'm not going to glue it just yet. I'm not going to glue it just yet because I might want to do something with our knitting. So I've got this little scrap of yarn that I bought in New York many years ago, and I made something with it. I don't know where it is. I think it might have been a Tilly Thomas yarn, and it is hand dyed silk, and it is threaded with little beads. It's got a little bit tangled up, so I'm hoping that I can untangle this and begin to knit with it. There we go. Little beads falling off the end there. So I just want a little bit. I'm going to do a little bit of a long tail cast on, and I'm using cocktail sticks. And I keep a lot of my little scraps because back in the day I used to knit for Christmas. I used to knit things like little snowmen. I've got a book of knitted meerkats, and they were very popular. I used to knit those for people, and knit little scarves or little outfits. The snowman pattern that I've got has got hat and scarf. So, you know, little scraps like this are very useful. And plus, this yarn was so expensive that, I mean, I could only afford to buy one skein of it. You don't want to waste anything. So how many stitches do I want? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll do one more, I think, and I'm just going to do just garter stitch because it's quick and easy. We'll just have a look and see. No, I'm going to do one more stitch, I think. Now a little tip. Cat wants to be let out again. Hold on. She's gone. A little tip for if you're knitting garter stitch to keep your edges straight. If you always slip the first stitch. Now it's not easy knitting with cocktail sticks because they are quite sharp and not as smooth, obviously, as knitting needles, and perhaps it would have been a good idea to start this off on double pointed needles, and then I could slip them onto the cocktail stick, but we'll see how it go. I think once we're started we'll be fine. Oh, it's tricky. They are quite sharp. Obviously a knitting needle isn't as sharp as this. There we go. Oh no, nearly there. Okay. Can't believe it's the last day of June tomorrow. I just don't know where this year is going. I mean, it's just phenomenal. There we go, last stitch, and now I've got my last stitch on. It'll be a bit easier. But this silk is beautiful to knit with, and I'm not going to need all of this. So I'm coming back on the other way, and I'm just going to slip and knit. And knit. It's difficult because there's a thread that the beads are on that's kind of twisted with this, and it's not lying flat. Get to the end of the row, and then I think I'll perhaps pause you while I finish it off. There we go. So I'm going to pause you for a little bit. I actually did start again because I got a bit of a tangle because the thread, this carrier thread with the beads on, wasn't lying flat, and it was difficult knitting on the cocktail sticks. So now it's established, I'm going to transfer to the cocktail sticks. So I want both of them. So I'm going to knit this row so that my stitches are all on a cocktail stick. And it's a bit easier now that I've started and it's established. Only took a couple of minutes to get this far with this, and it's lovely. Can you see how the beads are sitting in the fabric? And last stitch on this row. These are 2mm needles. They are cubics, so they're actually not completely round. They are a cube. It's got very dark now. Let's just put a bit of light on for you. So now I want to knit across about half of my row. So I'm slipping my first stitch, remember, to get that nice selvaged edge, so it's nice and straight. And we'll do, I think I've got 8 stitches on my needle. So there we go. We should, if I do this one, we should have about 4 on each needle. Let's try not to split the yarn though. That's the problem with, I've got 4 and a 5. That's fine. I'm not going to cut this yet. I'm going to bring in my card base, and my idea is, I think that I'm going to have this kind of sitting like so, maybe, or shall I have it because I'm left-handed, I do tend to kind of like focal images on the left, so I think if I had it like that, we can leave that hanging loose, and then if we bring the working yarn round like so, so if I have that like that, I'm going to cut these down with some scissors and put a little little bead on the end so they look like needles. Have that crossed over like so, but bring this working yarn round. I can kind of trail it over the card under here and have a little bit up here. So I'm going to just unravel some of this. It's a bit more than I thought. I think that will probably be enough. And I can just wind this into a little mini ball round, do three fingers like so. And then a little bit like so. Try and get a lot of the colour showing. If anybody interested in this yarn, I think it was either an Alchemy yarn or a Tilly Thomas. There we go. I can always kind of sort that out after. What I'm going to do now is cut the end off these cocktail sticks. And if I put them side by side like that, move the yarn out of the way, I can cut approximately the same amount off each end, like so. And with those big scissors, it's very easy. Then I want to try and find a bead to glue on the ends of these. So I've got some small beads here, and what I might have to do is just sand away a little bit of each of these ends. But if I could kind of stick a bead on the end like that, that will make it look like a needle. So I'll come back to you when I've done that process, because it's boring. So there we go. I've just got a couple of little white beads glued on to the ends of those cocktail sticks, so they look more like a traditional pair of knitting needles. And now it's just a case of deciding where I want this to go, and pithering until I get things where I want them, and laying the yarn out so that it kind of makes a trail across the card like so. Pither, pither, pither. If I get this centered, then I can see how much space I've got. So essentially, I mean, I suppose it doesn't matter if that goes across that like that, does it? Mind you, no, because that opens to write a message on. So I do need to get this stuck down on this portion here, like so. And I think the way to do it is going to be to put a little bit of this glue on this cocktail stick here. It does dry clear. Pop you roughly where you're going to be. This is more fiddly than I thought it was going to be. So that goes there like that. That is going to stick down like so. I mean, I suppose I could have that like that, couldn't I? Yes, I needed a wider portion really for this bit. Yes, I'm going to pither and come back because it's very boring for you. So there we go, we are finished. So 5x7 card with a little space to write your message. There is my Y for yarn. It stands up really nicely. I can't show it to its full effect. I've just anchored the yarn down with some buttons. So I think buttons and knitting go quite nicely together, don't they? So I think if I was to do this again, I might have done an 8x6. so that I've got a little bit more real estate here. I suppose another way I could have done it was to do a 5x7 that opens that way and just have a portion of the card that way, if that makes sense. It doesn't really make sense, does it? But as it is the last one in the series, I thought we'd have a little recap of what the projects were and what I actually made. And I've kept all of the cards except one, it seems. All of the projects except one. So if you would like to be in with a chance of winning one of my projects, you might want to, you might not want to, comment down below which is your favourite project, and I will do a draw in a couple of weeks' time, and whoever's name I pull out of the hat, as it were, they will win the project that they say is their favourite. So let's begin. The first one was B for buttons, and I did this little 10 centimetre, well actually no, it was 9, 3.5 inch square card with lovebirds. B is for buttons. I've got lots of buttons. This is a jar of buttons that I have. So we've got B for buttons. Then it was U for umbrella, and I just did a really simple 5x7 card, graphic 45 paper, lovely image of this girl holding the puppies with an umbrella and a little bit of umbrella paper there. It's from the graphic 45 collection, Raining Cats and Dogs. So that was U for umbrella. Then we had R for ribbon, and I've done a square card which is 6 inches square or thereabouts, and I used Christmas ribbon here. It said Merry Christmas, it was from a present. And then this stamp I fussy cut, and it's got this ribbon and bow, little tag, don't peek, cosmic shimmer background, silver sparkle paper. You can see how beautifully centered the matte layering is on that. So that was R for ribbon. P was for paper piecing. I wasn't entirely successful with this. I was too complicated. I used this Tim Holtz die and tried to paper piece lots of things in it, and yeah, gave up. It's quite effective but not entirely finished. So that was P for paper piecing. Then F was for feathers. I mean, I could have die cut a feather or stenciled a feather, but I used again graphic 45 paper, Feather Your Nest, and this is the Bird Watcher collection or something. Beautiful, beautiful paper. I think that's a 6 inch card as well, 30 centimeters, almost 6 inches. Then we had H for heart. That's the one that's missing. I don't know where it is. Then A was for aperture, and I did 2 cards. I did this one, which was a spinner card, and the star that spins has got an aperture in it. And then this is kind of like an aperture as well. I will just be transparent. There's some marking from where I die cut from my plate. So it's not a pristine card, but that is one of the A for apertures, and that's an 8 inch card. And then I've got this little one here, and it's got a piece of vellum inside in that aperture with a little bit of stenciling, some tiny little crystals. So that was my A for aperture. O was for overlay, and I made a series of ATCs. So there's 4 here, and I used vellum as an overlay, and I kind of layered up various things. I'm quite pleased with those. Lots of texture, lots of mixed media. So that was O for overlay. W was for washi, and I just used different washes, laid them at a diagonal angle, and a little sentiment topper. Good vibes only, it says. So that was my washi tape. W for washi tape. G was for glitter, and I did 2 cards. This was the first one, so I think I did a demonstration of this. I'm not sure, I can't remember. So this is a Tim Holtz die cut piece, and I used extra wide tape and glitter. So yeah, I put double-sided tape down on some paper in strips, and then kind of laid the glitter on it, removed a strip at a time to get the rainbow effect. And then this, I don't think the camera will show it up. The black, again, is a Tim Holtz die cut on a Cosmic Shimmer background. And the black is actually very, very slightly glittery. And of course, you've got the glitter in the sparkle and sheen in the Cosmic Shimmer. And I've put the gold that glittered, Tim Holtz clipping. So that was G for glitter. Q was for quilling. This was my first attempt at quilling, and I've done the sheep. Find Your Loveliness. I do quite like that, actually. Then we had T for tag. I made a couple of tags. Oh, it'll be PT hashtag PT tag club soon. But I like these. A little bit of Tim Holtz things, I think. Hazel's stamps in the background. And a lot of these is the 13 Arts papers. Yes, little bits and little bits of Tim Holtz ephemera. And these butterflies, I think, were from an Etsy seller. So that was my T for tags. Then we had E for embossing, and I did 2 cards, again 30 centimetres square. So just a little bit of embossing on this, and all in white with a little pop of colour. Really like that effect, actually. Blooming, so that was one example of embossing. And then this was different 3D embossing folders, and just a little bit of gilding wax to bring those out. So that was embossing. I was for ink, and I used my collection, the background stamp with the bee on and the honeycomb, and just inked through the stencil. Nature never goes out of style. So that was I for ink. X was for XO, hugs and kisses, and I had these 2 cards here. Then we had J for jewels, and I did a Lavinia background, Tim Holtz stenciling in the background. I've got some jewels dangling, little bits of jewels on the background, dictionary definition of jewels, so that is that. Nearly at the end. Thank you for staying with me. V is for vellum. And I said there was a mistake in this one. I've actually stuck this in upside down. Little butterfly, little ladybird. That was Tim Holtz vellum. M was for masking, and I just masked off using tape, washi tape, an area on my card, and yeah, masked off the fish a little bit as well. That's that. L was for letterpress. I wasn't very successful with this, and I think there might have been another card, I can't remember, but this was my finished example, and yeah, I like that actually. I might have another go at that. D was for doily, and I had this butterfly that was gifted me by somebody, which is kind of doily like. And then I did have a doily, and rather than cut it and use it, I stenciled through bits of it and rotated it, so you get this kind of quite unusual pattern in the background. So that was D for doily. C was for corners. I used Hazel Eaton's collection for this. You Are a Star. And then we've got corners in various places. Nearly at the end. N was for napkin. I used 2 napkins and embossed this one. Again, full transparency. It has bowed a bit where I've used not Cosmic Shimmer, collal glue, but it is like concrete, that. Oh dear. Yeah, you could do some damage with that. That was my N for napkin, the gnomes. What else have we got? S was for stencil, and I used various stencils for the sky and for the ground. And then these were stencils. I used glossy accents on this one, and it's a little kind of Yorkshire Terrier type dog, Yorkie. And then this is stenciled, and it's got crackle glaze on it. Few words pass between them, the dog and the bird, yes. They don't speak the same language, do they? K was for kite. Made this little 3x6 card. Jack is flying his kite. Dad made the kite. It is made of light wood and paper. The wind carries the kite through the air. Yes. A little bit of stenciling, which I thought was a little bit like a kite. We're nearly there, everybody. Z was for zigzag, and I made these ATCs with doodle zigzags on. And then finally, we have got our Y is for yarn. So as I say, comment down below which is your favourite, and I'll draw in a couple of weeks. If I pull your name out of the hat, I will send you the projects I made for the letter that you say is your favourite. I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you to Hilary for hosting such an amazing challenge. It was really good fun, and it's got me out of my comfort zone a little bit. Never done quilling, never done letterpress. I think out of all of them I might give letterpress another go. Anyway, I'm going to open my challenge entries now and hopefully upload that tomorrow. I've cheered up since I've been talking to you guys, so thank you very much, everybody. I will be back soon. Take care now. Bye.